Hey guys, calling back with another video this weekend. And I thought with the recent passing of Peter Tork from the Monkees, we would show the Monkees' debut record here, which came out in 1966. And this was the first of four consecutive #1 albums by the Monkees. And this one was on the top of the charts for 13 weeks until it was displaced by the Monkees' next record. And also, this had a #1 single on it, which was The Last Train to Clarksville. Um, Now, famously, the Monkees were not allowed to function as a band on this. They didn't play any of the instrumentals. They only sang on they only used vocals on the tracks. But Peter Tork was allowed to play his guitar on two tracks, which were both written by Mike Nesmith. Um, oh, and here they are on the back. Meet the Monkees: Davy Jones, Mike Nesmith, Peter Tork, and Mickey Dolenz. Um, a couple of years ago, I and Doug went and seen the Monkees at the Prairie Band Potawatomi Casino up there in Mayetta, Kansas. And we had a pretty good time. We sat in back. It was in a small venue at the little theater at the casino there. We had a couple of beers and sat back there and watched Mickey Dolenz and Peter Tork were the two that were there playing. And I picked up a T-shirt from that, and this is the Monkees T-shirt I got, the Monkees 50. And on the back it says the Good Times Tour 2016. I guess that was a little over 2 years ago. Uh, I don't remember. I think it says Mayetta, Kansas on here or something like that. Uh, I can't find it at the moment. There's a whole bunch of them anyway. And that was at the Prairie Band Potawatomi Casino and Resort, which is kind of strange that that people would go visit a reservation for a vacation on a resort, but it does have a golf course, casino, and a little theater there where a lot of bands come up there and play, mostly country acts and things like that. But that is kind of strange, that people want to go to the reservation and take their vacation. Um, Now, some trivia from 1966 is that I was born in 1966, and there was a huge tornado at the time in Topeka, Kansas, and I remember my mother telling me a story about that time of that big tornado. I was still cooking around and kicking around in her belly at the time. But she said they all went down to the basement and watched all the wind blowing and the rain and whatnot, and the cows floating by, and huge tractors and train cars and whatnot floating by in the sky. And that's just one of the things I remember my mom telling me about the year 1966. Um, and that was some trivia of my own. Now, some other trivia is that the prohibition ended in Mississippi, which is another thing I didn't know, that it took that long for Mississippi to end prohibition. They couldn't booze it up in Mississippi for years and years. I guess that's why they were doing the moonshine. And some of those states have always been backwards on a lot of other things besides that. And I'm a Believer. It was a #1 song by the Monkees. And a crazy conspiracy theory then was Paul McCartney died in a car crash and replaced by Billy Shears. Now, one of their songs, I remember him saying Billy Shears in it. Um, I just remember the vocals were Billy Shears, and then I think it was Ringo came on. What would they do, or something like that? I can't remember what tune it is. Maybe you guys do. It was the Beatles mentioned Billy Shears in one of their songs. Was that kind of a little comedic jab at that conspiracy theory? I don't know. And one of the board games was Dalek's Escape. The Daleks, The Great Escape. It was a Doctor Who pinball type machine game. And with that, I thought we'd kind of go into something. The Monkees were always very fun to me. I remember watching that television show on TV when I was a kid. By that time, it was already, yeah, it was reruns by the time I seen it in the 70s. And it was one of those shows where it came on at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. My mom had already fed me my Salisbury steak TV dinner and my chicken pot pie. And she was trying to make me go to bed for school the next day. But that was one of those shows that always came on when she was trying to put me to bed. And I'm like, can I just stay up a little bit longer and watch the Monkees and the Monkees television show, which was always fun. And that's just one of my memories of that. But going along with that, I wanted to show a fun game, probably one of the funnest games that we have played together so far. And it's kind of a younger kids game, but it's really fun for us. And that's a game called Ice Cool. And this is called a dexterity game. It was given the Major Fun Award by somebody, the 2016 Game of the Year, and the Dice Tower Seal of Excellence, and the Best Family Game. And this is a little game where you're bored. It's not really a board, it's more the box itself. It opens up and you're flicking around these little, they're supposed to be penguins, and you're supposed to be chasing them around in and out. It's supposed to be a school of penguins, and you're flicking around these penguins. There's like a hall monitor who's trying to catch all of the student penguins who have gotten out of class and are trying to play hooky. But this has been one of the funnest games that we have ever played together so far, just because you have to get up and move around the table. You're not just sitting there. And we were laughing and having a big hoot over the whole thing. And just recently, I picked up Ice Cool 2, which is the second game for this. And it's not necessarily a part 2. It's more of a extension of the first one, to where you can add this on to the Ice Cool 1 and make a huge, giant ice skating rink out of it, which will take up probably the whole table, and we'll all be running around trying to flick our penguins and whatnot. But that was a very fun game, and I highly recommend that if you have a family or a partner who you just want to have fun with and not really overthink things with a hard game and things like that. And that's my video for today. Since I sound like a teenage boy, my voice is changing. And calling over and out, Weirdos Unite.